What is going on, YouTube? It is Rob with Gaslight Gaming, bringing you a tutorial video for the new Call of Duty Warzone that just recently came out. Now, these are just some tips that we've picked up early along the way that seem to kind of make a difference. If you're trying to win or trying to get the better of the opponent. These are just some things we've seen early on that seem to help with that. Before we really get into it, though, if you're enjoying our content, we ask you to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video if possible. We're a new gaming channel, really trying to get our name out there, and all the help we can get is much appreciated. So we'll dive right into it. So tip number one is we recommend that you buy class drops. Now, these can be purchased from the cash crates that are located throughout the map. Now, what you get with a class drop when you buy it, which is the most expensive option on the thing, I believe $6,500, is you can throw a beacon, which drops a supply crate, and then you go to the supply crate, you open it, and you can pick a custom loadout that you can use in multiplayer, or it's the same loadout set that you may have used in just regular multiplayer or whatever, and you can actually get that exact loadout onto your character in Warzone, which is sort of a crazy feature. And where this really comes into play is if you're not finding any good weapons, you're finding just regular weapons, and you really want to beef up your kit. You get one of these crates, you pick it up, and all of a sudden you have all your attachments on your weapon. If you're running overkill, now all of a sudden you can have a sniper and an M4. Weapons, pretty much the possibilities are endless. It's using preference for what you really want, but it can be a game changer, especially if you're having bad luck finding the weapons that you're looking for, or they're underpowered, they don't have attachments on them, etc. And this can also come into play when your teammates come back to life, either by winning the gulag, or you pay money at one of those cash crates to bring them back in. With the class drop feature, they're not really out of it. Like they'll parachute back in, and they can pick up a class right away if your team has one of those open, and just like that, they have guns again and they're equipped. Whereas if they don't, they have to scavenge. They're at a higher risk of getting killed again because they don't have as good weapons. Usually by the time people are respawning in, a lot of the loot's already been consumed throughout the map. It makes it a lot harder to get re-equipped, but by purchasing these class drops, you're kind of putting yourself back on a more even playing field, even later in the game when it may be harder to actually find some of the stuff. So moving on to tip number two, this is going to be in reference to the gulag fights. And so the premise of it is when you die for the first time in Warzone, you get a chance to fight in the gulag, and if you win in the gulag, you get to respawn at no cost to your team. Now, dying is demoralizing, but when you die, it is so critical that you focus up here when you head to the gulag, because it is a free opportunity to get a respawn. The only other way you can respawn in Warzone is if your teammates purchase your respawn, which costs $3,000 or $3,500, which is a pretty good chunk of change. Money's not super easy to come by in Warzone. The more you kill people, the more money you'll accrue from running over their loot stacks and stuff. And there is cash available on the map. But if you think about it, if you win the gulag fight, you are saving your team $3,500 that can be used for UAVs, airstrikes. That's half of a weapons crate, as we discussed earlier. It is so important that you stay focused even when you die that first time. You go to the gulag and you take care of business. Of course, you're not going to win every gulag fight, but if you're winning the majority of them, you are putting your team in such a better position to have more cash, to buy more, like I said, UAVs, airstrikes, all intelligence gathering, weapons crates, further on down the road, instead of having to buy back your life. So it just pays huge dividends to focus up and really just take care of business if you get sent to the gulag. Moving on to tip number three, this one's going to seem maybe a little trivial, but from what I've seen so far, it is important, and that's try not to thirst your opponent unless you know for sure you can get away with it. And what I mean by this is it takes a lot of rounds to fully kill a downed opponent in Warzone so far, from what I've been able to tell. And that whole time you were shooting at a downed opponent, you have to assume that their team is coming over to either avenge them, help them, to basically come to kill you. So the more ammo and time you are putting into thirsting someone that's down is more exposure you have to the enemy, who's now aware of your location as long as the other team's up on the comms reporting your position, and they're coming to kill you. So there's no need to thirst. The guy on the ground can't shoot you. He can just crawl around and provide intelligence if they're up on the mics on their team or whatever. But by not focusing in on thirsting, you can make sure you're taking care of business, because like I said, chances are his teammates are coming over to assist one way or another, and you'll know if you wipe the whole team because the guy won't go down, he'll just automatically die. So it's a good indicator that there's still probably enemies in the area if you shoot someone and they're down instead of dead. I mean, as tempting as it is to thirst, it just seems to be better to try and wipe out the whole squad initially and then move into killing them and taking their loot. I've fallen into the trap even of you down a guy, you want to get that registered kill. It's fun, but it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of ammo, and it definitely keeps you exposed. Alright, moving on to tip number 4, and this is hitting on how critical armor is in this game. Armor can be replenished. You can have 3 plates going at a time. You can pick them up. You hold, if you're on Xbox, you hold Y. If you're on PS4, you hold triangle to equip them, depending on your controller setup, but I think that's what it defaults to, at least. But not having armor in, I'll tell you, there's been instances already where I didn't have armor in and I just got absolutely shredded by the other team. And I'm talking, I had the drop on the guy, I'm spraying him, I'm peppering him. He has enough time with armor when I don't have armor to basically turn on me when I'm not missing shots even, and still just absolutely light me up and destroy me. So I cannot preach enough how important armor actually is to staying alive and being successful. It's kind of easy to sort of just bypass, not refresh your armor because you're not really thinking about it. But if you look on your HUD, you can kind of see what your armor levels are. So it's important to pay attention to that. And if you need to put another plate in, just do it and try and get it done as expediently as possible. You can run and swap armor, but you can't shoot while you're swapping armor. So it's probably better to do it in a safer area when you have an area secured or whatever. But I'll tell you, it definitely pays dividends in the long run when you're engaging the enemy and when you want the upper hand on an opponent. Dually, you'll know, like, when you're shooting someone, when you break their armor, it takes a lot of rounds, it seems like, to break someone's armor. So that right there is more evidence of just how critical armor is. You can share it with your team. I think you can carry up to 5, but you can only wear 3 at a time. So if you see your teammates are low on armor, drop them some armor plates, get them back up to 100%, and your team will be postured much better than they were before to go in and dominate some of these gunfights. And then last but not least, tip number 5, we have the gas mask. So this is an interesting thing. So in all these battle royale type games, they always have the wall that collapses. In Black Ops 4, in PUBG, in Fortnite, you have the area shrinks as the game progresses, and in order that's to encourage and force basically the players playing to fight each other and ultimately determine the winner. Now they run it on a gas system in Warzone, in that that's just what they call the wall that collapses in. It's the gas, but you can find gas masks throughout the map. You can pick them up off dead bodies, and you can buy them from the cash crates. And what these do is they allow you to actually operate in the gas. It'll deplete the life or the health of the gas mask the longer you're in it, but it doesn't hurt you and doesn't take away from the player's health until the gas mask expires. And this is big because it seems we're like in PUBG, I know, and in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, you can get away with playing in the wall some. As the game progresses, you take more damage the longer you're in the wall. But it seems like in Warzone so far, it really depletes your health quickly. I haven't run the numbers on it, I haven't crunched the numbers or anything, but it just it just feels like your health is depleting a lot quicker than those past games. So knowing that you have a gas mask can give you a little more leeway if you need to loot someone that's out in the gas real quick. It's late game, you're low on ammo, and you just need to pop out real quick and then pop back in. It can provide you that versatility. When the game's getting tight at the end, when the circle's real small, it can provide you the few seconds you need to get the flank on the enemy, to get behind them and light them up for the win. Stuff like that. So don't overlook the importance of the gas mask. Can definitely pay dividends. Early game, late game, mid game, doesn't matter. It just gives you that extra little bit of versatility. So something to look out for, and if you can find one, wear it. So in conclusion, we've gone over the 5 tips that we've seen early on in Warzone that seem to really be helping, and those are: buy class drops, win your gulag fights, don't thirst unless the area is secure. Armor is critical to success, and if you can find a gas mask, use it to your advantage. But that'll conclude the information portion of this video. Again, if you can drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're a new channel. We're really trying to get out there, get some content out there. Drop a comment, anything you like, dislike about the channel, about this video, anything. We're open to feedback. We look forward to providing more content in the future. And thanks for watching.